Welcome to, this is day 4 of class. It seems like day 1 million of of our exile or something like that. But I'm glad to see you guys here this morning. We have just a few minutes like all together, and then I'm going to put you into small groups for what the bulk of the class is. We'll probably be done in about 15 or 20 minutes today total. I want to make sure that you are able to compare each other's stuff on the anchor charts that you've made. And I have a request of you when you do that, but I'll speak to that here in just a second. The other thing that I want to make sure that we're on the same page with is the instructional strategies recording sheet that I showed you last time. You're going to have an opportunity to use it today, or, well, depending on your PLC, as your PLC is either today or Friday, but you're going to watch your first set of classroom videos today, like actual observation classroom videos. And so you'll have an opportunity to use that sheet, even though the videos are coming at you in the PLC class, you'll have an opportunity to use that sheet for this class. Does that make sense? So it's like a crossover opportunity with that. Okay. So let me share my screen with you. There it is. I have so many windows open on my computer. This is what we're going to try to accomplish today. Obviously, we are not going to be able to do a gallery walk of our instructional strategies activity charts or anchor charts. So my plan is to kind of put you into smaller groups so that you can share what you learned about that with everybody. And here's the deal. I can share my screen with you, and I know that in larger groups, you can share your screens with me, but I don't know in small groups if you can share your screens with each other. So that's one thing I actually want you to try with each other in this, when I put you into the smaller groups, if you would try and share screens with each other. If you do, that'll make your work a little easier. If not, you're going to have to just kind of talk to each other about what you've learned. And I do have a set of questions that I want you to kind of look at, and I'll share that with you here. That's on the course website. And where did that screen go? There it is. Under day 4 class questions. So when you're in your smaller groups here in just a few moments, if you click on the day 4 class questions, you'll see there's 5 of them here that are talking about similarities and differences. What strategies were the same? Which strategies were more emphasized by Hattie or by Marzano? And then I want you guys to kind of think about your own content areas, maybe for the first time, and how might you as a classroom educator employ the strategies and activities that you've seen and read about in your classroom setting. And then think about your time as a student, or if some of you have been in classrooms and observed, which you all have at some point, where have you already seen those strategies in action throughout your entire educational experience? So those are kind of the 5 questions I want you to talk about with each other as we put you into the smaller groups. And again, if you do an experiment for me, if you would see if you can share screens in the small groups, I would love to know that information, okay? So those 5 questions with the anchor charts that you've done, I'm gonna do your breakout rooms here, and I'll give you, I'm gonna start with like, let me think here. 3 rooms, so you'll have 3 people in it. If I gave you like 9 minutes, that's about an average of 3 minutes per person. That's probably about right. And if we need more time, we can go back into them. But I will see you in about 9 or 10 minutes. Again, please do that experiment for me if you can see each other's screens. And if not, focus on those questions, and we'll come back and do a whole group share out. And then I'll remind you one more time about those instructional activity sheets, and then we'll probably call it a day. Okay. All right. So here come your breakout rooms, and I'll see you in about 10 minutes. Well, welcome back. Hopefully that you had a chance to do the experiment. Were you able to share screens with each other in the breakout rooms? You could. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. So my second question is, I apparently can broadcast I don't know if it goes across the screen. I broadcasted the words 2-minute warning. How did you see those? Like, how did that come across the screen? Did it literally
like at the top?
What's that?
It's like at the top. It was
At
small.
the top of the screen? Okay, that's cool. Okay, so that's good information. So about the actual strategies themselves, did you notice similarities between Marzano and Hattie stuff? And if so, where did you find those similarities? This is a strategy called wait time.
When I did mine, can you hear me? Yeah. I felt like I didn't find too many similarities, but the ones that I did find were like they both had feedback. So like the teachers giving feedback to the students and then the students giving feedback to the teachers.
Yep.
And then Marzano had homework and then Hattie had self-report grades.
Yep.
So I put those in the same category. I don't know if they are like really the same thing, but
They're similar, yeah. The thing about that is that there will be similarities between probably multiple strategies. I mean, I know Marzano has identified the 9 high yield strategies, and Hattie has dozens and dozens, maybe even over 100. And so for that reason, I tend to focus more on Marzano just because I can manage 9 as opposed to managing like 100 or something like that. So a lot of the similarities that you'll find sometimes will go even in between the different strategies. Is what I found with that. So for me, Marzano is much easier to navigate. And the one thing I will say about that is if you understand Marzano, you'll be able to understand Hattie's stuff as well. Hattie gets a lot more specific in nature. And you're right, they both do talk about feedback. That's a good catch by you, Drew. Feedback is a very powerful tool in education. And we don't do it often enough, I think, is the gist of that there. Let's see. Trying to think about other things that we would need to do. So essentially now what we would do if this was a regular semester is we would arm you with this knowledge and then we'd send you out into your classroom observations and we'd ask you literally to start looking for these strategies. For me, like I said, it's easier to look for the Marzano strategies because there's 9 of them and it's easier for me to navigate 9 than it is 100, you know? So we can't send you out obviously to schools. So for the first time in your PLC classes today and tomorrow, you're going to be able to, you know, watch videos about that show classroom teachers in action, and possibly throughout the later weeks of this course, I'll post some videos too. So I would encourage you to start looking at those videos, not just with the stuff that you need to see for PLC 2, which is going to be kind of similar, but also for the Marzano and Hattie stuff, so you can fill out that instructional strategy sheet that I showed you last time. And anything that you've done as far as classes that you're taking on Zoom this semester, if you can find strategies for Marzano or Hattie that are being used, those are fair game. The similarities and differences that you were asked to take a look at between Marzano and Hattie, that would actually be an assignment you could use on your sheet. Other Zoom classes that you're taking. I'll even say, if you can think back to classes that you've taken in college before, think back to some of your high school courses that you've taken. Think about those activities that really stood out for you and see if you can actually find in Marzano or Hattie where those strategies are used and then try to break the strategies down into those activities. And we have until the end of this month, I think, to get that done. Whenever the last day of this class is, would be when those would be due. But those are that strategies and activities sheet is one of those things that you need to have done. I mentioned the competencies. The other thing would be the strategies and activities sheet. Those things that you have to have done in order to kind of navigate your way through the class. Okay. Any questions about that? Anything on your radar as far as if anybody in your group was radically different from each other? Anything along those lines? Questions?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If like we saw some things that they did in their like anchor chart and we want to put them in ours, can we like make changes to ours and resubmit it?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
All right.
The anchor chart is a reference for you. That's my intent. If you turn it in, well, here's the other secret though. If you turn it in, you're going to get the points for it. That's the deal with that. But if you want to change it so that you can reference back to it, that's quite fine with me. You can resubmit it at any time. Yeah. Yeah. Other questions? It's a good question. Okay. Well, as we kind of wind up today, I hope that you're able, again, to keep, socially distancing yourselves from people. I know it's kind of tough. I'm thinking about adding another social media platform to my repertoire. I've got Facebook and Twitter, and I have an Instagram, but I never use it. So like, if I had to choose between TikTok and Snapchat, what's the better option for me? I've seen Snapchat, and I think that it seems just like glorified texting. Am I right about that? Except
Yeah.
that it disappears afterward or something. Yeah. And
Mhm.
TikTok just seems like Vine videos to me, but maybe you're too young for Vine videos. I don't know.
Definitely get TikTok.
Definitely get TikTok. Okay. All right. That's the word on the street. Okay. I'll explore and see what that actually means. How do I do it? Do I download an app, or do I? Yeah, it's an app.
Yeah,
Okay.
just download it.
And then start watching videos.
And then start watching videos. Okay.
Can
So
we send you our favorite ones?
you absolutely can. Dimit at nwmissouri.edu, or if I get a TikTok, or is it like how does that work? Do I have to do a username and all that sort of thing?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it like my Twitter? I mean, okay. I'll explore, and when we come back on Tuesday, I'll have a further report. So if that doesn't get you to come back on Tuesday, I don't know what will. So, oh shoot, I'm recording this. Dang it. I'm going to stop recording, and